What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. Today we are going to make my blueberry mud that I have so infamously been posting on my Instagram stories and getting a lot of heat about, wondering what the hell that is and why I'm eating it. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown of exactly what we put into that bad boy and how to make it and different variations if you're not in a deficit like me. Okay, so this is basically the ingredients that I use. The blueberries aren't shown because they're in the freezer, and you can obviously substitute out different fruits if you don't want blueberries. You also notice that there's a bunch of different cream of rice that's on here. Really, it's just different variations of it depending on your budget. And there's no protein out, which a lot of people are probably wondering, what the hell do you use for protein source? I just eat plain old chicken with it because that's what's in my program, but I will talk about different types of protein sources that you can mix in with it to get a better consistency, maybe even freeze overnight, like little cookies, stuff like that. A bunch of different good stuff. So we'll kind of get into that. Okay, so first things first, and I apologize if you hear my little Misha running around. She's got the zoomies. She's a little crazy. So I want to talk about cream of rice because this is a bit of a confusing topic, right? So there's all sorts of brands. You can even just grind up rice, right? And people probably wonder, well, what's better than what? Why do you use one versus another? So this stuff right here, you can get basically at any grocery store. It's just the orange box cream of rice. The only problem with it is these are often filled with like calcified iron or different minerals, etc., to kind of preserve them so that their shelf life is longer. I would say that it's still fine to use this. I've used just standard cream of rice in a box for a very long time. But from a gut health perspective, if you're starting to notice that you are more bloated after you're eating it, or bloated for longer, or you're having issues with maybe being regular, I would stay away from using something like this because there's a good chance that the added minerals and iron, stuff like that they're putting into here is causing that problem. So you might want to stay away from it. So then we have these fun brands. This is Flavor Gang, absolutely phenomenal company when it comes to making low calorie options or healthy alternatives from their sauces. Well, they also make cream of rice as well. Their flavor profiles are fantastic. I have had two of them, the lemon pound cake and the chocolate brownie. Both are knock your socks off good. Lately I've been on a lemon kick, so I utilize this. But their chocolate brownie is really good as well. The difference, this is a $5 to $6 price point. This is $20 to $25 price point. So it's a massive difference. And then when we're talking about servings, we have 21 servings here. If you're just going by the label, I usually do double what the amount is, if not triple. And then here, you're looking at about 15 servings, so a little bit more servings in here than you are, or sorry, a little bit less servings in here than you are in this option. Again, this is a fourth of the price. So even if you were to buy two, you're still half the price of this, and you have more servings then. So it just kind of depends on what your budget's at and different price points. So the last option, which this isn't cocaine, I promise. This is just rice. So I literally took jasmine rice, blended it up in my Ninja, and you get cream of rice because it's what cream of rice is. It's literally just dry rice completely grounded down to your powder form. This is the cheapest alternative. So kind of have different price points here. Convenience items, these two, it's ready prep for you. So these two are convenience items, it's ready prep for you. This, there's a little bit of manual labor involved, but honestly, you shouldn't complain about putting dry rice into a blender and blending it up. It takes literally no time. Regardless, 3 different options, all are great in their own ways. If you're in a hurry, this is awesome. If you want fantastic flavor, bingo, this is your guy. If you want the cheapest alternative, it's this. And I'm actually gonna show you how to take this and we're gonna elevate it to something along this level, okay? Okay, so we've got our bowl here. What I'm gonna do then is I am going to first add my dry ingredients. So our cream of rice, we're just gonna use our ground up jasmine rice, a super cheap alternative. We're gonna use some cinnamon. We're gonna use some cocoa powder. And then I have 2 packets of stevia just for added flavor, and some dark chocolate chips. So like I said, to start with our dry ingredients, we're gonna take the dry cream of rice. You can eyeball it or you can measure it. You know, right there, that's about 50 grams. Yeah, so it's like right on the money. So if you're on a little bit of a budgeted program, 50 grams is probably right up your alley. I'd say 100 more if you're in like an off season or trying to put on size. And then I'm gonna add in my dark cocoa powder, just kind of till it looks about like that consistency. So about 1/3 cocoa powder to cream of rice in this case. And then lastly, we have our cinnamon. Well, not last, sorry. I just kind of give it 2, 3, 4 little spanks. And lastly, our stevia packets. So I just do 2, but you know, if you want it a little bit sweeter, you can do that as well, that works. And then what I'm gonna do is just mix up the dry ingredients. So just a fork. Sorry if that noise is annoying. So we want it all blended up nice. So until once the colors sort of start mixing, there, so you get sort of this like light brown consistency. Once we're to that point, you're golden. And then what we're gonna do next is put in, I usually put in about 2 to 3 cups of water. I've done this for so long, so I've just kind of eyeballed it and know exactly what I'm looking for. But we're going to let that boil up, and once it's to temp, we'll add our dry ingredients and start putting the whole thing together. All right, so now that our water's up to a boil, we're just gonna add the dry ingredients to the pot. And for this part, it's very, very key that you use like a rubber or a wooden spatula, and you want to keep stirring until it's a real thick, almost like creamy consistency. So I'll just kind of show you here. So right now it's, you know, very liquidy. We obviously don't want that. So I'll probably stir this for about 5 to 10 minutes till we get the consistency that we want. And then we'll add the blueberries and kind of go from there. All right, so it's starting to bubble up to the consistency we want. I have the temperature turned down to like a medium temp. Just kind of let it break down after it started to boil for about 5 to 6 minutes. So now we have this, you know, sort of thicker, creamier consistency. It's not as runny. It still isn't exactly where we want it to be yet, but I already weighed out 100 grams of blueberries. We're gonna toss that in there, and obviously you can use like, you know, frozen strawberries, bananas, raspberries, wherever you want. In this case, we're gonna use blueberries just because it's in my diet. But I'm gonna mix this up for probably another 3 or 4 minutes, and as you can see, when you add the frozen blueberries, it just thickens it up even more versus fresh, I have found. So I would recommend doing frozen over the fresh, but see, we're kind of getting close to the consistency that we want of the mud. Okay, so cooking is done. Kind of got it to this thicker consistency here, making sure it doesn't run off. But this is kind of the consistency that you want, almost like an oatmeal. That means that we've kind of hit our mark. Now, okay, this is where things can kind of explode with flavor profiles. So for us personally, we are going to use Redmond sea salt, just a little bit of sea salt, especially before a workout. Something like Redmond sea salt brand is very good just to kind of help with the pump. Also, body loves salt. Don't ever be shy of salt. We don't put too much in there because otherwise it's going to be disgusting, right? I don't want a salty, sweet cream of rice, just kind of weird. And then you would add around 20 pieces or so of dark chocolate. So this is going to give us sort of our finished product here. So you have that nice creamy consistency. Here, I'll move this over here. So you've got that nice creamy consistency of the cream of rice, the little blueberry chunks. Now we have the dark chocolate bites in there. It's always fun when you're dieting and you bite into one of those bad boys and just kind of get a rush of sweetness into your mouth. Can't complain about that. Okay, so all right, so when we're talking about flavor profiles that I had mentioned, this is a very low calorie, it's probably like 2, maybe 300 calories, which to me is low calorie. It's gonna have around 50 grams of carbs, about 5 grams of protein, not high in protein at all. So we didn't add any powders to this, which I'll get into that. And then also with fats, with the dark chocolate in there, you're at around 10 to 12 grams of fat. So overall, it's a super easily digestible, pre-workout, carbohydrate-centered meal. Now, where this gets different, depending on what your goals are, you can make this very high calorie for someone who's trying to put on weight, like a bulk, right? Or you can make it even lower calorie by cutting back maybe like dark chocolate or cutting the berries in half, stuff like that, depending on what your goal is. Now, if you add protein powder to this, the consistency can get so thick that it actually tastes like brownie batter. It's absolutely delicious. So if you do have something like that in your program, you can throw in protein powder, and then we can take those macros obviously and throw in another 25 to 50 grams of protein. Or you can do things to sweeten it up, like add more stevia if you're more conscious of calories, or if you're not, honey. A lot of honey in there. I also sometimes will use sugar-free maple syrup. You can use regular maple syrup if you're not, worried about calories as well. Other fruits, bananas, raspberries, blackberries. Obviously I have blueberries in here. There's so many different things you can do with this. That's why cream of rice is such a good base, because it's an easy, fast digestible carbohydrate source, because it's literally white rice, right? So it's gluten-free. And then you can just build on it. And you can add in stuff that's going to increase protein, add in stuff that's going to increase carbs, fats, whatever your goals are. And then there's also so many different things you can do with it. So aside of having it, like this, where it's like a porridge or, a batter almost, you can freeze it on a sheet pan and make little cookies with it, little balls. So it really depends on what you want to do. You can have nice little snacks with them. It's just a great base and overall staple in your diet, or at least I think it should be from a bodybuilding perspective. But this is my cream of rice meal. I am eyeing it up, but sadly it is late and I don't get to eat this today. So I'm going to freeze this overnight and have it for my pre-workout tomorrow. But appreciate those of you who've shown love and support so far, or have hit me up on Instagram and given me other ideas in the future. We're going to keep them coming. So if you enjoyed this one, make sure you drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe so you know when I'm posting more, and hit me up on Instagram as well. Thanks so much. See you in the next one.